Does that have any difference?
That is a problem, yes.
Hello, Phil Duckham.
Hey, Dave.
Okay, I see the problem. Rodney, I'm going to ask you to log out, please, and I'm going to resend you the link.
Evening, just doing a quick mic check to make sure you guys can hear me. Thank you.
Just to let everyone know, you're live on YouTube. Smile.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
I would like to call the Tuesday, August 18th, 2020 Board of Commissioners meeting to order, if I could, please. I'd like everyone to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, and Commissioner Duckham, would you please lead us in the invocation? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Commissioner Duckham?
Bill, you're muted.
Sorry. Lord, tonight we face another meeting. We have many problems to solve. Everything that was good in the world now seems bad. Everything that was bad in the world, people seem to think is good. Please, Lord, guide us as we make our decisions tonight, and we want to do it for the good. In your name we pray, amen.
Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Commissioner Bear,
Present.
Commissioner Walls, Commissioner Kennedy,
Here.
Commissioner Duckham,
Here.
Commissioner Plesky,
Here.
Commissioner Mahoney,
Present.
Commissioner Williams,
Present.
Commissioner Elwell,
Here.
Chairman Chatwell.
Present.
9 present.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Item 2, approval of the agenda.
So moved.
I have a motion and support. My understanding is Commissioner Bear would like to add an item. Please unmute your.
There it goes. Yes, maybe under new business, I would like to add a discussion about the event Tailgates and Tunes, sponsored by Grand Golf Club. Chairman Shotwell, you're muted.
I'd like to place that under 16A, unfinished business, but it'll get on the agenda where we need to be. Any other additions? Hearing none, all in favor of the agenda as amended, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. You all set, Amanda? We have no awards and recognition this evening, no commission communications or petitions to be brought before the board. We have no special orders nor public hearings. We've arrived at the first opportunity for public comment. Michelle, is there anyone who's asked to address the board?
No public comment this evening.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Special meetings of standing committees, there are none. Item 8A, approval of the minutes of the July 21st, 2020 meeting. I have a motion by Tony Bear, supported by Darius Williams. Any corrections, deletions, additions? All in favor, please show the sign of a thumbs up. If you're opposed, thumbs down. Entertain a motion for approval of the special board meeting of July 23rd, 2020. Please correct your agenda. Have a motion from Tony, support from Rod. Any additions, corrections, or deletions? Seeing or hearing none, please show the thumbs up if you approve, thumbs down if you do not. Looks to me like 9-0, Amanda. Thank you. We've arrived at the consent agenda, public safety, or the consent agenda. Entertain a motion, please. Moved by Corey, supported by Darius. Any deletions or removal for discussion later, or just general questions about the consent agenda? Seeing or hearing none, Amanda, could you please call the roll, please?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Commissioner Bear,
Yes.
Commissioner Walls,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Duckham.
Yes,
Thank you. Commissioner Plesky,
Yes.
Commissioner Mahoney,
Yes.
Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Elwell,
Yes.
Chairman Shotwell. Chairman Shotwell,
Yes,
unanimous.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Item 13, Standing Committee, Public Safety and Transportation, chaired by Vice Chairman David Elwell. Commissioner Elwell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. All we have tonight are appointments, 2 vacancies on the Community Corrections Advisory Board. The first being Workforce Development. It's a vacant seat. There were no applicants for the committee and no recommendations from committee. And the second one was the same board, the Community Corrections Advisory Board. It was for a criminal defense attorney, an indefinite term. It was from the resignation of a current member, David Lady. Again, there were no applicants and no recommendations from committee, and we'll continue to advertise.
Thank you, Commissioner. Are there any nominations from the floor for either of these positions at this time? I do not hear any. Again, thank you, Commissioner Elwell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Are you complete with your report, sir?
I am. Thank you.
Thank you. Standing Committee Human Services, chaired by Commissioner Daniel Mahoney. Daniel, floor is yours.
Good evening. Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I do not believe that the Human Services Committee has any business to bring before the board tonight. The only thing that we had in our meeting was we still have a few appointments open for the Sanitary Code Board of Appeals. And that would be it unless there's any nominations from the floor for that particular board. And I don't hear any here, so that would conclude anything for Health and Human Services tonight.
Thank you, Commissioner Mahoney.
Thank you.
Standing Committee General Government, Commissioner Duckham.
thank you, Mr. Chair. We have no business to conduct tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Duckham. We've arrived at 16A, unfinished business, party at the Grand. Commissioner Bear, you asked for this slot.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Received a communication today about this event, Tailgates and Tunes. And it's an event similar to what has happened at Keeley Park recently with the drive-in movie venue. It's similar to other events around the state that have the same type of venue. People sponsoring this, promoting this, they've been active in Jackson County for quite a while. They worked on the Children's Challenge for 6 years, bringing in almost $100,000 to local schools and charities. They generated revenues for businesses, raised money for nonprofits, even raised money for the County of Jackson last year at Keeley Park, the music festival. So they have a great track record of successful events. They have a good track record of community service to Jackson. So I would like to know why they received I guess I will choose to term it a threatening letter from the health department saying that they're going to be shut down. I'd like some explanation on that and look forward to any information, insight anybody can give me on that.
Tony, before we get into this, I would really like to agree with you that these people are hard workers and have put together a great product in the past. They've laid out a very good plan. They've put together everything they need to do, except they don't have a permit from Summit Township. They've not bothered applying for their conditional use permit. They're in direct violation of the law in Summit Township for not applying for this. And they've not taken any time to do it and have received a letter from the zoning administrator for Summit Township that they need to do this. And they've ignored this. So until such time as this organization gets all its paperwork filled out correctly, I think we should keep ourselves out of this. While it's important that events like this happen, especially when it's put on by people who pay attention and follow the rules and do everything, then it works. But when you don't follow the rules, Tony, I can't endorse an event. That's my problem with the whole event. Now, if we want to talk about how our county handled the communications, well, I think we can do that, but let's not wander too far into the weeds on this. Let's behave ourselves, but remember, at this time, this event is not appropriate and doesn't have the approval of the township it's going to be put on in. And that makes them completely liable for everything that goes on. We're talking about alcohol. We're talking about people coming onto a private piece of property, and they're going to lose all of their covered liability insurance from any organization of governmental statute because they didn't follow the rules. I don't think any of us would want to have an event on our business that they haven't followed the rules, and all of a sudden immunity is removed. So I think there's a real question of them completing the rules, and then we go forward from there. Now, I wanted to give the other side of the story. Tony, you may continue, and then Corey, you may go.
Mr. Chairman, I appreciate that issue with Summit Township I was not aware of. I was only aware of the letter from our health department. So it appears to me they have maybe two hurdles to cover here. One that you mentioned, the Summit Township permit, and that burden is totally upon the persons offering this venue. The other issue would be the county health department issuing them a letter saying they're going to shut them down. They're going to call the state police. So I'd like a little bit of if there's additional information from the health department on that perspective, I would like to hear it. Thank you.
It's okay for me to go, Mr. Chair?
Yeah, go ahead, Corey.
Okay. So I'd concur with you, Chairman Shotwell. I wasn't aware of the issues with the township, and if they do in fact require conditional use permits, that's something that organization is going to have to deal with, and that certainly doesn't involve us. So I'd concur with you there. However, my one issue is the individual from our county health department seemed to put a lot of time and effort into derailing this event, and I'm not so certain that should have been the case. I've personally asked for some pretty simple statistics, one being just simply the amount of tests given in Jackson County, I asked for false positives, false negatives, and the numbers of individuals who've tested positive multiple times. And I've yet to get those answers. So when an individual puts that much time and effort into something that I'd say is beyond their job description, I take a little bit of issue with that. And that individual's not here tonight to talk about, so I guess we'll talk about it next month. But I just wanted to bring that to light. I feel that we made a resolution as a board months ago that we weren't going to waste county resources doing things of this nature. Not to mention, from the plan they put forth, short of not getting the conditional use permit, it looked like they took safety in deep regard. I mean, they had a lot of preventative measures in place. And they were looking into all the multiple executive orders that this governor has set forth. So I just wanted to point that out. That's all.
Commissioner Elwell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I agree with your position on it. The information that you divulged that wasn't necessarily in the emails or documents that we've got. My concern, as stated by Commissioner Kennedy, was the fact that we passed a resolution number 6-20.19 back on June 2nd, I believe, that spoke specifically to issues like this, which noted that the Jackson County Board of Commissioners refuses to participate in such license reporting requirements or barring access to businesses. And that was in the resolution. There's a quote of both of those issues about notifying licensing agencies. That is the threat that appeared in this letter. It doesn't look like it's been done yet, but it was a threat. And our resolution further talked about, as Commissioner Kennedy mentioned, using county resources. I'm hopeful that our county staff keeps the wishes of our Board of Commissioners in mind as we articulated them in the resolution from June 2nd. Thank you.
Commissioner Mahoney, then Commissioner Duckham.
I guess I'm kind of confused. Maybe I missed something. I've tried to keep up with this string of emails, and I don't see where a threat was made. I see mention of the issue being forwarded to the Attorney General's office, but if this individual doesn't consider what they're doing wrong, why would they be worried about this being forwarded to the Attorney General's office? And how are we considering that a threat? And how are we considering that outside of the public health officer of our county's job description? I'm really confused on this issue, really confused on how this is outside of her job description. This is actually like directly in her wheelhouse of keeping our county safe. I don't see anything wrong with what she mentioned in the email. I didn't also know about whatever township issues this organization is facing, but I mean, I think that what you guys are complaining about is exactly why I had a problem with us passing that resolution in the first place, because it's not wise counsel for us to say that we're not going to enforce an executive order passed down by the governor of the state. That's just my comment. It doesn't really sound like there's much we can do about this, but I think that we really need to question how much trust we are actually putting into the professionals that we hired to do the job that we're asking them to do. You know, I think that we have to have a little bit more trust in their guidance and the decisions that they're trying to make for the best health and well-being of our entire county right now, and try to stand behind them as we have over the last few months. I think it's really unfortunate that so many of these health issues are being politicized into something that it really shouldn't be.
Mr. Duckham?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For one, I'm getting damn sick and tired of her. She picks and chooses which people she wants to allow to do activities, which ones she don't want to do activities. She can go out and march in a protest rally, but then again, we can't assemble more than groups of 10. No, No,
Phil,
I'm talking.
Phil, could you please stay to the issue? We're not
Yes,
debating the
yes.
quality, we're not debating the quality or inadequacies of our governor. We're debating whether or not we should be discussing the grand party is what we're
Yes,
discussing,
we should.
Phil. And I'd
Yes,
like
we
you,
should.
I'd really like you to focus on that, please.
Yes, we should, okay? This grand party is no different than the church I attended last Sunday. It's a drive-in type setting church. We parked cars 6 foot apart. We rolled our windows down. We tuned our radios in so we could hear the minister. And where in the heck was our wonderful governor then? She didn't raid our church parking lot.
Phil, please,
She picks
Phil,
and chooses. She
Phil,
picks and chooses.
Phil, stay focused on the grand party, please, sir. I'm not asking you to debate the governor.
The grand
Please?
party is no different than what we did at church Sunday.
Thank you. Darius?
Just as a point of order, Mr. Chair, I believe if I'm understanding the dialogue of conversation thus far, we were just asked for a question to be answered. I believe that in the very beginning you've answered that, so I'm curious as to where do we go from here?
Well, I found, Darius, that since we no longer get to meet in a candid environment, that we need to discuss as much things as possible in the open and share as many thoughts as we possibly can. What can be interpreted as a conscientious health director investigating everything can look also like somebody who's overstepping their authority and violating a resolution that the Board of Commissioners passed. So I just want to make sure every commissioner has an opportunity to speak and share their thought pattern on this. That's all. It's under unfinished business. That's why I placed it there. And I understand that commissioners have concerns and they would like to have a way to voice that to all 8 other commissioners, their fellow commissioners. And that's what I'm letting go on because, again, like I said, we're not having a candid conversations anymore. Before meetings or after meetings, we're having them here in an open setting and sharing everything we can. Darius?
So just to follow up with that, is there any action item that is going to be taken on this?
Are you making a motion to take action?
No, that's what I'm trying to.
What I'm looking for is our administrator to go back and review this stuff after talking to everybody and come back next month at study session and give us an answer. Is everybody comfortable with that? That's 2 weeks away. Corey, you have your hand up, and Daniel, you have your hand up. So we'll take Corey first and then Daniel, unless you guys are comfortable with the administrator reviewing this and bringing it back again for us to talk about at study session. All right.
I'm comfortable with that. I just 2 points for the administrator to look into. Number one being selective targeting. What was so much different about this group than some other events? And I can speak specifically of those events here tonight, or I can tell Mr. Overton, off the record, but there were events that certainly had more than 100 people at them, which seemed to be what our health director took issue here. So I need to know why this specific event, that's not good. And in this event, that's okay. We can't have that. If this is what it is, then this is what it is. The other thing is, and perhaps Commissioner Mahoney going through the emails, and I know they came kind of rapidly. It took me a second to go back chronologically and see how the communication was going. But I also I watched one of the individuals that was organizing the event gave a pretty thorough, detailed analysis. He broke down multiple executive orders and how he was meeting them with safety. And then the response from our county employee basically was assuming that people wouldn't follow these safety parameters that were in place and that people would congregate. And you can't make assumptions. You got to go by facts. So I would just like those two things to be discussed by the county controller with this individual, and I'm fine with coming back at a later date.
Daniel?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Kennedy, two things. One, if you do have other events that you're going to mention, it's like Chairman said, this is open dialogue. I would be interested to know about what events as well. Secondly,
I think what will, Daniel, I hope you're comfortable with this. I'd like Corey to list them, and then Administrator Overton will investigate each one and come back with an answer.
okay, that's perfect.
Okay.
And secondly, I'm going to use exactly what Corey just said to kind of like make my second point. It was made very clear what the executive order violation was going to be and why the event was not approved. I think that we have to do some more understanding of what Rashmi's full responsibilities are. They're not just to meeting the requirements and living up to the standards that we set for her. She's a trained professional in her job, and she has more than just us to answer to if she violates an executive order and an outbreak is caused. So it clearly says in there that the main issue was the event or the gathering is going to exceed 100 people. There's other events that the county has shut down that were going to exceed 100 people. And I know this because people have called me personally to say, hey, the county shut this event down that we had already approved. And the key reason was because it was going to exceed the 100 people. I think we have to just kind of tread lightly here. I mean, this is not decisions that anybody is happy with at all, but this is the environment that we've created for ourselves, unfortunately. But that was just my additional comment. And then I am okay with it going back to the administrator's office for some further investigation and some further information for us to find out.
Thank you, Daniel. Any other commissioners? I see David Elwell there, but is there any other commissioners? Vice Chairman David Elwell. Oh, Tony? David, and then Tony.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My comment's brief, and it's for Administrator Overton. It just occurred to me, I'm looking at this letter that the health director sent to the person organizing this event, and it's dated August 6th, and today is the 18th, I believe. And I think I would expect that we would be notified of such a letter like this before now. I don't like to hear about it from somebody complaining about action about the health. I mean, it's kind of a controversial issue. It would have been better, in my opinion, if we were notified sooner about this letter. Thank you.
Mr. Bear.
Thank you, Chairman. In the email that we received from these individuals, they themselves did not receive the letter from the health department until August 13th. For Commissioner Overton, this letter lists several events that took in Jackson County, like the drive-in movie at Keeley Park, June 20, Juneteenth, June 21, drive-in movie, Keeley Park, July 24, Kiss by the Sun street event, August 1, drive-in church at several places, a couple more events that are scheduled to take place in August. So myself, what I would like from the explanation is what was different about this event, tailgates and tunes at the golf course. What was different about this one as opposed to the other several that were listed? So that's the explanation of the story that I would like to hear. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, you're muted.
If I may, I hear you. I'll take a look at the email thread there, and I'll meet with Rashmi, and we'll address the questions and get to the bottom of it and provide an answer ASAP.
So with that, I would entertain a motion to redirect this unfinished business item to the Administrator's Controller's Office per County Board of Commissioners policy. I have a motion and support. Any further questions to the motion? Tony Bear made the motion, Corey Kennedy supported. All in favor, please show the sign thumbs up. If you're opposed, thumbs down. 8-1, Amanda. Item 17A. Administrator Controller, the Board of Commissioners' right to refuse of tax foreclosure properties. Administrator Overton,
Thank
unless
you.
you accepted that demotion from commissioners earlier to become a commissioner.
No, it's
No,
okay.
okay.
I think it's pretty straightforward. This is not the first time that most of you have had opportunity to be involved with this resolution. The question is, did anyone find any property that they felt warranted more attention? I have received a number of communications from commissioners indicating they had not. I just wanted one last opportunity. If not, I believe a motion for the resolution stating that the county will not accept any properties. Therefore, all the properties will become available for the auction September 18th by the treasurer.
I would so move the resolution.
Support.
Mr. Chairman, you're
We have
muted.
a support. We have a motion by Commissioner Elwell, supported by Tony Bear. Any comments to the motion? Madam Clerk, could you call the roll?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Commissioner Walls,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Duckham. That's a yes. Okay, thank you. Commissioner Plesky,
Yes.
Commissioner Mahoney,
Yes.
Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Elwell,
Yes.
Commissioner Bear,
Yes.
Chairman Shotwell,
Yes.
unanimous.
Thank you, commissioners. We've arrived at the second public comment. Michelle, do we have anyone to indulge us with public comment?
No further public comment this evening.
Thank you, Michelle. We've arrived
You're
at
welcome.
commissioner comments. Is there any commissioner comments? Is there any commissioner comments? I can't see anything because of the light. Sorry, there's too much light. Commissioner Elwell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the administrator, not Commissioner Overton, Administrator Overton. I think there was a meeting today, which was regards to the after action report related to the Emergency Operations Center being open during the crisis, which has been closed. I'm of the belief that there will likely be a written report of that after action report generated. And if so, I'd like that to be brought to the commissioners when it's available. Thank you.
Any other commissioners? Commissioner Plesky?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I didn't make comment during the discussion concerning the thing at the Grand. I would note my own personal view that the fact that Summit Township hasn't issued a permit is somewhat relevant. But I don't note that was cited by the health department in complaining of the fact that the thing was planned. So I do look forward to the administrator's report on the matter. Thank you.
Any other commissioners? I want to thank the commission for their indulgence of myself and the discussion of our unfinished business item 16A. And I believe that We need to have some candid discussion every once in a while about some issues so things can be thoroughly vetted by the administrator and his office to be able to return to us all the possible questions and answers that we need. Don't hesitate to send an email with further questions about this issue. And I'm sure the administrator's staff will put together a very thorough and chronological report for us. With that, I would like to entertain a motion in accordance with MCL 15.268, a personnel matter to be discussed at the request of the employee.
So moved.
Have a motion by, was that Elwell said it? Bear
Yes.
second? Madam Clerk, could you call the roll?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Duckham,
Yes.
Commissioner Plesky,
Yes.
Commissioner Mahoney,
Yes.
Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Elwell,
Yes.
Commissioner Bear,
Yes.
Commissioner Walls,
Yes.
Chairman Shotwell.
Yes,
Unanimous.
thank you.
Welcome.
So Michelle, do we leave this meeting and sign into the other one?
That is correct. Make sure you leave this meeting and go to the other room.
And then afterwards, we come back to this one?
That is correct.
That was easy.
Thank you.
I made it back this time.
Welcome, Mr. Chair.
You're welcome. Entertain a motion to come out of closed session. Supported by Rodney, or made by Rodney, supported by Tony. Any comments? All in favor? Thumbs up if you're in favor. Come out of closed session.
Does it need to be
9-0.
roll call? Does it need to be roll call, Mr. Chair?
No, not to come out of closed session. All you have to do is agree.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion.
Go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion that we extend Michael Overton's contract for 3 years beyond its expiration date, which I believe is 1 year away, and give Michael Overton a 1% pay increase for this year.
So I may clarify that it is retroactive to the anniversary date.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry. Yes, to his anniversary
We have a
date. which was
motion on
Sun-
the
I'll
floor.
support that.
Commissioner Elwell supported it. Madam, any comments on the motion? Madam Clerk, could you call the roll?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Commissioner
Thank you.
Duckham? You're welcome.
Yes.
Commissioner Plesky?
Yes.
Mahoney?
Yes.
Commissioner Williams?
No.
Commissioner Elwell?
Yes.
Commissioner Bear?
Yes.
Commissioner Walls?
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy?
Yes.
Chairman Shotwell?
Yes.
8-1.
Yes, ma'am. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So
Moved
moved.
by Commissioner Elwell, supported by Commissioner Kennedy. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed? Duly carried. Thank you, gentlemen.